Hey writers, it's been a minute. Let me fill you in on what's going on, and by the end of this video, I will have a plan for social media, which will hopefully help you with your social media plan as well. Which is why I am posting this. I think. But if you're seeing this, I posted it, so there's no point in telling you about that part of it, but we'll get to that. As I said, it's been a minute. So last December, which is a year ago now, I was incredibly unhappy. And I came into the new year doing things kind of the same way, but I made some very new changes, or very new to me. One of the things was I refused to set a goal for 2024. I didn't choose a big word or a strange word or a cute little phrase like the color of boom, which everybody asks me about. Pretty sure there's a video about that. But I chose B instead. So I created I made a planner for 2024, and my word was be, as in be Joe, be a writer, be whatever I want to be. And because I like a good pun, there are bees all through it. So I called it the bi-weekly pantster planner, because I consider myself a pantster, and this has all sorts of little things that I have learned from my different planners, because I couldn't find a planner that actually did what I wanted. And you can see I even created a little NaNoWriMo. This is still in my Patreon, and one thing that I did do early last year, you may have noticed, was I made everything free in my Patreon. So if you want this, it is still the 2024 version, but which means it has the numbers in the corner, but you're welcome to it. If you want, let me know in the comments, and I'll upload the new version I've made for this year. This is a black and white version, and it's just a mock-up of my 2025 one. So I'm using it now, and I love it. But it is weekly, not bi-weekly, because I decided that with everything I've got going on, it was time to go weekly. And it still has a lot of my little things in it, but I've updated it a little bit, and I've made separate pages for things like book reviews and book wish list. And it is I've designed it to be, as many as you want. So this I printed at the library, and the lovely lady at the library said, I'm only going to charge you for double-sided, but it came out single-sided. And I said, well, that makes it really thick. So if it were double-sided, it would not be that thick. This goes to the end of January, and it was just me testing it out and seeing if it would work. But if you'd like that, maybe I'll do it anyway. I'll post it in Patreon. It takes me 2 seconds, and you're welcome to have that. And this one is blank, so you can use it whenever, start whenever. It still has my bees. I don't know if I'm going to come up with a word this year. That's kind of what we're talking about here. So, to social media or not social media? That is the question. But again, more on that. So I started in January to think I'm just going to be I'm going to take a break from social media. I had enough videos to publish until June. And so I scheduled those out, and I decided to take a few months off. I thought only 3 months at the time. Mid last year, or the year before, I guess, 2023, I was at Varuna Writing House. There is a video on that on my channel, so you can hear all about that. And I met a woman there called Braun, who had just finished her master's, and she was on her way to get her doctorate, which she is studying now. And actually, one of the videos that is yet to be posted is an interview with Braun about that process. I was fascinated, but I obviously spoke to her in 2023. And right when she got into the doctorate program, actually. So it's really exciting. And hopefully if the end of this video is that I'm going to continue with social media, that video will come up. And I really hope that that's the result, because I have committed to the people who on my podcast, talking to them, and I really want to post the videos, but there were a lot more hiccups along the way. I decided I want to be a writing doctor. I want to be a book doctor. And so I went back to school. I started my master's in creative writing in February of 2024, and I have completed 2 programs, and I have just fallen in love with it. I've written 2 short stories, finished the novel I wrote last year, which I am now shopping around, and it's all just really lovely and good. Then coming into March, because March seems to be the month of the year where everything goes to pot in my life, I was diagnosed with a serious chronic illness. Am dealing with it. I am medicating, and so far the journey has been good, but it was rough for a few months dealing with that diagnosis. So I decided to push back, returning to social media. I had enough till June, and I really hated editing videos, so I hired an editor to finish the last 6 podcast interviews that hadn't been edited yet. So one with Braun, one with Becca Syme, and one with Les Zig, one with Kit Casters. That one was finished and that's up, so you can watch that one. And I paid her half the rate, and off she went to do that. And I continued studying, and ran past the due date of having those videos done. I reached out and said, hey, what's going on? How are we going with those? She dropped me 2 and said, it's taking longer than I thought. And I said, that's fine. I've got videos scheduled out till June. We'll just keep going. And ironically, the video that posted in June, I never intended to post. I created it in 2022 when I got some hurtful comments on a short that I posted, and I never intended to publish it, but it was scheduled to be published a year after I felt it, and anyway, it went out because I wasn't paying attention. So that's up there too. And I started reading more. So with uni, I had readings to do, and some of the books were fantastic, and I actually read the whole book, like Exit West, which I highly recommend, which I have here somewhere. And another book that I love was We Are All Completely Beside Ourselves, which is, I think it's yellow. Ah, there. So these were, the first chapter was assignments, and I read the whole book because it was so good. Oh, I loved them so much. And so I started to read different books. Then I used to only read YA, a lot of fantasy YA, which I still like, but I'm reading these books that I guess I thought were maybe too smart for me. And I love them. They're really fantastic and surprising. And I just finished The Maid, which was another great book. And Eileen, so many good books. But the book I want to tell you about was a nonfiction book. Now, this one I did in Audible, so I didn't read it in my hand, so I don't have it. I read it on Audible, and it revolutionized the way I was thinking about my life and what I wanted. It's called 4,000 Weeks, and it was fantastic. And so the premise of the book is we only have approximately 4,000 weeks in our life. And I am the age that I am, and some of you know how old I am because I have told you how long I have been writing and how many rejections I have gotten. So, you know, you can do the maths. And this book made me think about what I want for my life now. I want to be a book doctor. I wanted a different job. I wanted to be home on weekends and on nights. And I start the new job I start the new job on Wednesday and I'm very excited, but it will be 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. And on weekends, I'll have my daughter and nights will be family time. How much time can I devote to social media? So that brings me to the meat of this video. What do I do about social media? What are the problems that are going to occur? What are the things, like, is this really what I want to invest my time as a writer? Is it important to do this as a writer? We're all supposed to have a platform or whatever, but is it really important? I know that when I spoke to Serena, I'll pop that video link up there, who I met at Verona in 2021, previous time. She hated social media and didn't do it, and they wanted her to create an account, but the fact that she didn't have an active social media account was not a hindrance to her getting the book deal. So it's not the be all and end all. Now, maybe if you're a self-published author, then you have to do your own marketing. And that's another thing. I have another friend who has gone the self-published route, and she's got an email newsletter, and she turned me on to Becca Syme, who is fantastic, and love her. And she also took me on to Godin, and lots of help there with marketing. And I love marketing, so it's fun. So I appreciate that. And I do like doing things for my Patreon and for my friends and encouraging you. I did make a promise that I wanted to see like 1,000 writers get published. But the problem was that I didn't reach 1,000 writers. Even sitting here now, I believe my channel, I just looked, is 422 followers. Thank you. All of my followers, thank you. Really, really lovely. And I hope that at the end of this video, we decide that we're going to post it and we're going to try this again. But is that really how a writer should be spending their time? Is that right for me? And I don't want to say anything about any of the writers who do spend their time doing a lot of marketing, social media, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. All these things are part of their journey, and that's fine. As we discovered with the publishing podcast, every writer has a different journey, and there is different as writers, and I actually think they're as different as books. So every book that you write might have a different journey than the other books before it. And the world changes, and we've been through COVID, and we've been through all these things together. What do we want out of social media? Well, we want to sell books. I don't have a book to sell, so I don't need social media to sell my book. I mean, I do have a book to sell, but I'm selling it to agents and I'm selling it to publishers. I'm not selling it to the reader because I'm not self-publishing. And that's my journey. That's something I want to do for me. And I spoke about that with several of the authors that I spoke to on my Publishing Path podcast, that I really, really want to go through traditional publishing. Maybe micro-publishing would be the right thing for me, but I want that. I want that. Mostly because I've been doing this so long that if I could have just, self-published, I probably should have done it when I was 14, when I first wrote a book. Again, purposes of social media. 1, to sell something. Well, I have nothing to sell. 2, community. And that is something I really wanted. But I'm building it with my fellow students. So do I need 2 communities? I mean, can we have too many friends? I don't think so. I believe that the more people you know who are doing what you want to do and are passionate about what you're passionate about, the more likely you will succeed at your goals. I believe that if we are friends and one of us is published, the other person who hasn't been published yet, their chances go up, because now you know a published author, or I know a published author, and we can help each other. We help each other. That's what community does. And so I do want that. Is social media the way to get it? I don't know. We're going to look at that. What else can social media do? It can kind of work, and this is kind of how I use it sometimes, as a sort of personal public diary, where I kind of account for the changes in my life and who I am and how I've changed. My hair is a lot longer now, and it is very hot. It's definitely summer here in Australia, and for that reason, I've actually continued making videos this year. I've made videos and I've taken photos, and they're all filed away because I want that. And Google very kindly reminds me of these things. But as an artist, what is the point of creating something if not to share it? Like, I publish my books, or I want to publish my books. I write to get published because it's not enough for me to write a book. I want to share it with you. I want to share it with my readers. So I've made these videos, but what's the point if I don't share them? You know, my great-grandchildren to watch them one day on, archaic technology because they're now watching, something completely different. I mean, you think about videos my parents took when we were kids on slides and stuff. What's the point if we don't share it? And that's what we talk about with social media sharing. So yes, I want community, and yes, I want to share. Let's look at these questions. Questions are from 4,000 Weeks, and I ask them of myself in regards to my life as a whole and social media in particular. And by the end, we should have a clear and present path. Where in your life, where in my life, am I pursuing comfort when what's called for is a little discomfort? When I first heard this question in my Audible, I had absolutely no idea what it meant. So luckily, he expands. Does the choice diminish or enlarge me? That's James Hollis. So diminish would be alleviating anxiety. Would be staying in my comfort zone. Enlarging would be deepening my intentions for my time. Deepening me. This one's hard. Another way to put it is diminishing would be like soul shriveling, and enlarging would be grow as a person. I felt I grew as a person this year with a break from social media. I felt I grew a lot. I feel that when I was in social media at the end, while I grew a lot doing it, at the end it was shriveling my soul. So, social media can do both, can it? I mean, it can definitely be soul sucking. It can also be a wonderful thing. I don't really know how to answer that question. I know that my time's going to be limited, and I know that I need to prioritize writing and my family and my mental and emotional and physical health and my new job and succeeding in that. And uni. It's a lot. Do I have room for social media? 2. Am I holding myself or judging myself by standards of productivity or performance that are impossible to meet? How would I behave differently if my standards have been reachable all along? My impossible standards. It says, let my impossible standards crash to the ground and then pick them up, 1 or 2 meaningful tasks, and get started on them today. So I believe I've done that this year. I let the social media crash to the ground. Do I pick it up again? Do I have room? In what ways have I yet to accept who I am and not the person I'm supposed to be. Some of you might have seen I wear a t-shirt sometimes that says stop shitting on yourself. My mom hates when I say that because it sounds like I'm swearing. Mom, that's the point. No one really cares except me, what I do with my life except me. Not feeling like I can earn my weeks on the planet if when I can do the best with them. Not feeling like I can earn my weeks on the planet. It's when I feel like I've done my best with them. It can be surprisingly radical and uncomfortable to ask ourselves how we would enjoy spending our time. I actually like social media a little bit. I like creating. I hate editing. And that was the other roadblock I found. I went back into Riverside, which I love and have talked about. But in the interim over the year, my free account is suddenly not free anymore. I can't download from it. Luckily, I've downloaded everything there. In order to download, I need to pay at least $15 a month, and that's only for 5 hours of tracks. 5 hours of tracks doesn't even cover the 3 that are remaining on there to complete. And I couldn't record this one unless I paid that $15, which is why I'm in Canva. Because I've had a paid Canva account for years, and luckily, what's the American term? Rent control. I pay remarkably low prices for my use of the full pro Canva account. What's great at Canva is there's free versions which would let you do this. So what would I do if I wasn't supposed to be something? I'd still make videos. I know that. So I'm making this one. Do I need to post it? In what areas am I holding back until I feel I know what I'm doing? Everyone's winging it. Well, definitely social media, because I have been holding back for a year. Because I wasn't succeeding. But there's 422 of you who have liked my videos. Thank you. That's a lot of people. It's a lot of people. Wouldn't it be nice to give you something? Even if it's just this video? If this helps somebody else, just one other person, is that worth it? I think so. I have one more question, but I feel like I'm coming to an answer. How would I spend my days if I didn't care so much about seeing my action reach fruition? The meaning of life is planting a tree that you know you'll never sit under. That's on a park bench at Casa Loma. I got to go home this year. That's another thing. Got to go home and see my parents and my sister and brother and my nieces and my niece and my nephews, and take my daughter there. She was born there, but she doesn't remember it. And my husband hasn't been back since her birth. So we went to Casa Loma and the CN Tower and all sorts of fun things like that. Montreal, which I love. And I have so many pictures I could share with you. So much. One thing I started doing there was I was taking photos. I was starting my poetry course and I was studying it while I was in Canada. And I just had this idea of photo poetry. And I started taking pictures of things that I thought were really strange and funny and interesting and recording them but they're just sitting there in my phone, in my cloud, because I haven't shared them. Wouldn't it be great to share them? It would. It'd be great to share them. Would you like to see my photo poetry, which are just strange pictures? Like, something you wouldn't expect. Something that caught my eye. Something interesting. I've also been taking pictures of books I've been reading, and I can share that with you. And all the bookstores I've been to, I've been taking videos of those because my husband and I, up until this week, at least once a week, have been going around to bookstores and coming home with truckloads of books. Now, we're not going to have the same days off anymore, so I won't be able to do that as much, but hopefully we'll still get to do it sometimes, on holidays and things. But it'll be a new life. It'll be seeing him in the evenings, seeing my daughter on weekends. She doesn't have to be in daycare or at a babysitter or in the bookshop when I'm at work, because she can be home and we can do things. I can spend time with her. She's growing up so fast. She's 9 now, going to be 10 in March. And it'll be good to actually get to see her and spend time with her outside of holidays. So I guess if I'm not worried about the metrics and I'm not worried about 1,000 followers and getting monetized, and I didn't have to worry about that, I'd post. At the end of the book, there are a list of things you can do to help with your practice, to help approaching productivity in a different way. And one of the things that I really embraced, and it's in my journal, is this idea of 2 lists. One is an open list, all the things you want to do. And when I made that list, social media was on it. And then a closed list, maximum 10 things. And you're free to open, your open list can have as much as you want on it. But your closed list, you can't add new things until you've completed them. And then there's a third list, which is on hold. So you've completed something, but the next step is on to somebody else. So I have submitted to 12 agents, 6 before I went to Canada, 6 last week. I can't do anything till I hear back from them. So this list was full of agents to submit to. I don't know if you can see this. 1 to 10. I added this morning. Decide what to do about social media. It was on that big open list, but I couldn't do anything about it because I had uni to do. I had submitting to do. I had family stuff to do. And there just wasn't room. But it's summer holidays. I'm starting a new job. My book's out to agents. Uni doesn't go back till February. I can finally decide what to do. The other thing I did was I serialized that big open list. I color-coded it with crayons. So anything that was uni or family or writing, my writing career, or friends, or life had been, like laundry, or social media. And then you want to put on your list of 10 things from the lists. So what I did was I had colored markers, and I would write uni. And this I did yesterday, but enroll in Feb semester. But this, well, after I read the book, was extremely long. And I had read all the way down here because I had so much to do for you. Then I had my manuscript writing, and here, like, applying to agents, editing, and deciding what my next project's going to be. I've done that. And the last thing on that list was to send my outline to my husband for some feedback before I start my next novel. And submitting to the agents was on there too, but I've completed those. So on here I've got 10. I've got my 2025 calendar, which I've actually done. And there was nothing left to do but decide what to do about social media. And then, number 3, decide what to fail at. I'm going to fail at lawn care. I'm going to fail at gardening. Underperform for a time. I decided before to underperform on social media so I could succeed at the other things. But the other things are on hold now. I can't do anything about uni till we go back. I can't do anything about the book that is out there at agents until the agents get back to me. And I can't start writing my novel until my husband gets back to me. I can't start work until Wednesday. And I can't spend time with my daughter till the weekend. Laundry's on the line. Coffee's made. I have to decide about what to do about social media. Another thing was a done list every day, which is why I went back to a week, because I can write down the things on the day, not just what is to be done, but things that are to be done. If they're already there, I'll check them off. If I forgot to write them down or something pops up, I'll write it down even though I finished it. Number 5, consolidate my cares. He uses a different word. Pick my battles for contribution. One of the reasons I changed my job is because I wanted to make a difference. And my new job allows me to do that, which is great. Here's another way I can maybe make a difference. Maybe I can help you. Share with you. Embrace boring single purpose tech. I removed all social media from my phone, and I don't think I'll add it back on. I think I'll limit social media to sitting down at my computer and doing it there. That way, I'm not looking at it all the time, and I stay away from the doom scroll. I've also removed my subscription to YouTube. I am now forced to watch ads, which means that I have to live through those ads, and then maybe I'll stop watching and do something else. Seek out novelty in the mundane. Pay attention pay attention in the moment. Do meditation, unplanned walks, journaling, photography, photo poems. That's my addition. That's why I started doing that. Practice deliberate curiosity. Practice relationship research. The goal is to figure out who this human is and figure out their story. Maybe you're doing a little of that here. Little human curiosity. I have it in buckets. Comments below, please tell me about yourself. Tell me if any of this was helpful. Or tell me the craziest thing you saw today. Cultivate spontaneous generosity. Or instantaneous generosity, I think is how they put it. When you're inspired to say something nice or thank somebody, do it right away. Don't wait for the proper moment. And this has been great. This has felt really wonderful. I really love doing that. And the last thing is practice doing nothing. Stop doing things and embrace the joy of doing nothing. That's hard. But I have been trying. I think I have my answer. See you in the next.